very warm good morning. Thank you for taking out time to attend this session.
Thank you so much everyone for coming on a Saturday morning to attend the session. It is really good to have all of you over here. So before getting into the presentation, there will be few terms which we will be using today. Those will be test cases, test plans. So I want to take few moments out and discuss what those particular terms are, what those terms that we will be discussing today. And the other thing which we are going to discuss today would be test plan. Test plan is an strategy where the quality assurance team writes down like what is the scope, what are the devices that we are going to test. So these things are written over there, and when these things are written, it defines what is the entire end-to-end scope of our testing. Let's say I have asked you guys to come on and do some testing. How will you start? You need to know something like on which device I have to start. There are hundreds of devices. You want to go on a browser, on an Android one, on iPhone, on iPad, which browser you want to go to do the testing, to execute the test cases. So for that you need certain parameters that okay, this thing has been written, I have to do this. The second thing will be timing. How long do you want these things to be completed? What is the expected timeline? Let's say I have assigned you one simple thing like I want you guys to do this thing. Now you don't have a test plan, you don't have a strategy around the same, then how will you decide that at what period of time I need to complete this, what is the priority of these tasks, how are these tasks going to shape the entire QA process or the quality assurance process. So these things are mentioned in the test plan, the overall strategy, then the people out there do the testing, and then it goes with the other flows. So I will start with an activity. I am going to show you two photos, okay. All of you have to tell me what is the difference between these two photos. Like, can anyone tell me what is the difference between these two photos? Anyone noticed anything?
You get what you see, what was promised to you.
Yep. So this pictorial view actually represent what is the role of a quality analyst. It is to make sure that the client get what it wants, not what has been built due to the sake of just completing task. If you can see here, the BA has done the job, okay. The BA has gone there to the client, asked for requirements. He got an idea that okay, you want something on which children can play. He got an idea. He discussed it with the tech leads. They decided that okay, we will write certain number of stories, and then those certain number of stories will be given to developers, and then developers will build. The developers have built it based on their own understanding, and then they delivered it directly to the client. So what happened? The client was having a different picture in his mind or her mind. The BA got a gist of that particular idea, shared it with the tech lead. He thought it from a perspective of technology, like how do I make this functionality work. So what he did, he saw that okay, there is someone who has to play, okay, there are ropes which has to be installed. Why to use two? Let's use it one. So he used those things, how to modify this, optimize this more, and then he gave it to the dev team. The dev team again used their own smartness. They thought okay, I want this particular functionality to be implemented. They made sure that this particular functionality is done. They didn't look into the entire picture, what do they need. They heard we need a rope, they placed the rope. They heard we need something, a platform on which a person can sit. They set up a platform. They did not care on what material that platform can be, what is the shape that platform should be. So they delivered it. On the second one, everything remains the same, but there is a vital team involved. That team is the QA team or the quality assurance team. Now the role of quality assurance team is to make sure that what has been promised to the client is getting delivered to the client, okay. So here, till the moment the dev has created certain things. Now what the QA team will do, the QA team will cross check these things. They will cross check it with the BA that okay, I have got these things, these many things. Now you want to continue with the build, or you want certain changes, you want to test it in, you want this particular product in this kind of shape or something like that, configurations. So they will do things like this. What this will do, this will make sure that if not 100%, almost the similar product is delivered to the client, and the client will be happy. Although happy client is a myth, we all know that over here, but it might happen that the client might get satisfied, okay. So let's say you guys have ordered a phone. You have ordered it from a different online platform, you have ordered it from a different platform, you have ordered it, and all of you have ordered it from multiple platforms. You got the phone is there. The phone is functional. You can make calls from that particular phone. You can, watch videos, but that phone you can't play game with that phone. Then how will you feel? You will feel cheated that I have paid the amount, okay, I have paid the amount for a certain functionality, but now that functionality is not present. And if that functionality is not present, why is it not present? Because there has been some miss in the system which should have been there, and then that particular product, what has been promised to you, should have been delivered to you, but as of now the current product is not delivered. So look back into the technology or understanding that why it has been missed. Then you will understand that it has been missed because, let's say, as I was earlier mentioning the test plan, there are some scopes defined what devices should be there. Someone tested it on the desktop, they did not tested it on their devices. So once they tested it in their desktop, it was working fine, but when they switched on into the mobile phones, then what happened? It was not working fine. Why? Because it was not tested. So to eliminate these things, there need to be a set of mindset that the testing person should execute. Okay, that thing is called consulting. Okay, now I am going to walk you through stories of two individuals. Okay, these two individuals, they work in the same company, they work in the same project, so and so that they work in the same story. They are currently working on the same story itself. Okay, but there is a difference. So meet Annie. Annie has got an experience of close to 3 years. She has joined the company Deep Corp recently. And those of you who don't know my name, so my name is Vikas Deep, and based on my fantasy of creating a startup, I have named this Deep Corp company. So she recently joined the company. She comes with an experience of close to 3 years. Okay, it has been few months in her new company, and now she has been onboarded into a project. In that particular project, she has been assigned few test cases. Okay, so what happens? She got the test cases, she got the email notifications, she navigated into those test cases, followed certain steps that, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, done those work, and as the clock hits 6 in the evening, she packed her bag, said goodbye to her friends, and said that, okay, bye guys, I am going. As she was walking back to her home, she was feeling proud. The reason she was feeling proud was that she thought that, okay, she has done a great job. She completed all the tasks within the given frame of time. She completed everything so efficiently that in her mind she was thinking, I am a rock star, I should be promoted the next day. So this was her mindset while she was walking back to her home. She also got praised by her manager, because her manager was also happy that I had given you 5 test cases to test, you tested them within the time. Okay, so this is a scenario which kind of looks perfect to me, that, okay, someone has been given a task and that person has executed that task. Now meet another person. So meet Sarah. So Sarah joined Deep Corp as a fresher, and currently she is having 2 years of experience. She is also on the same project where Annie was. She also got assigned the same story which Annie was, but she was assigned 5 test cases. She got assigned the remaining 5 test cases. Okay, what she did a different approach. The approach was not complex, but it was time taking, and it was time taking for quality driven efficiency, not for time driven efficiency. Her goal was not to complete a particular task in 5 hours. Her goal was to complete the 5 test cases with utmost quality as much as possible. So what she did, she went to the story, she read the story, then she got to see that, okay, there are some discrepancies. She scheduled a call with the business analyst. You know how hard it is to schedule a call with a business analyst. They are always on calls with clients. So she did that. Then after that, once she got the clarity, she executed the test cases, and whenever required, wherever required, she made some changes. She inculcated a consulting behavior. What she didn't do was following a task-oriented mindset. She was not there like sitting in her laptop idle and thinking that, okay, this task has been given, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These steps are written. I have to follow these 9 steps. My manager has told me to do so. I will do this and I will leave for home. Instead, she got into the bigger picture, bigger frame of mind, that, okay, why are these 9 test cases here? Why are these 9 steps here? Why are these 10 steps here? She, understood the functional side of it, and then she started into the testing. So this is going to be our topic for today, how can we do a fusion of quality assurance and consulting? Quality assurance and consulting are not two different things. It is not that you have to do one and do not do other thing, or you have to do other thing and do not do the, do not do the latter one. It is rather a fusion of both these things, where one person can do the activities of quality assurance while keeping in mind that there should be a consulting behavior inculcated during the entire course on which that person would be executing. So how this is going to be a recipe for excellence, that thing we are going to discuss. So the first topic which we are going to discuss today would be a fusion of quality assurance and consulting. How can we do that? The second one would be, if we are doing it, there must have been some reason why we are doing it, and that why will get answered once we get into what are the advantages. So we would get into the advantages, okay. But then if there is a requirement to do the fusion, there are certain advantages. Still there are skills of people which are in hibernation mode. We will discuss that what is that reason, why are people so resistant in getting into that consultative mindset while doing their day-to-day activities. This is something we would be discussing. Then we will explain the entire scenario using a use case, okay. And in the end, guys, please be attentive during the present. So the first point which we are going to discuss today would be fusion of quality assurance and consulting. Whenever we say quality assurance, as earlier answered by Ajay as well, because whenever we discuss what is QA activities, quality assurance activity or quality analyst roles, people think that, oh, the bugs should be there, the test cases should be executed, okay. So these two things are the most primary factors that comes to someone's mind, okay. But this particular thing is a very traditional approach. Why is it a traditional approach? Because once you get onboarded on any project, you get a brief idea that what that project is all about. So you create a test plan. You then wait for the developer team to complete the build and then ship that particular thing to the QA plate. Then they test it. Okay. So this particular approach is very traditional approach, and we have been following it for years. Like many people, many organizations out there are following it. Why? Because they have been trained in such a manner that your task is only under a bracket where you have to write test cases, wait for the stories to come to you, then you have to execute those test cases, and that's it, your work is done. If you find any issues in between, you have to log it, then you have to wait that okay, the dev team will take care of them. You do not have to apply your brain too much into it so that you get tense that okay, why is this functionality like this? That is the role of a business analyst. So this approach, which has been inculcated in many professionals right now, like still in many companies, in many projects, people do this sort of thing. So this thing needs to be changed. Why it needs to be changed and how? It needs to be changed using a consultative approach. So a traditional approach example could be a pretty simple one. Let's say any person, let's say Megha is allocated to any project, okay. So what she did, she created a test plan. She then waited for the build to be completed. Once the stories were assigned to her, she started testing, log few bugs, then closed those bugs and then closed the story. So this was her approach, and then she was happy that okay, she also done a great job. So this falls under the traditional approach. Now the second one is the consultative approach. This is of course a hard approach to take. Why? Because it needs a tweak in mindset, and a tweak in mindset is very hard than getting a six-pack abs right now, because for that you can go into the gym, you can work hard, you can get it. But this require every day, every moment, every story, every task detail. So you have to keep it in mind that you can't do it, like you can't just go ahead and say, okay, for 1 hour today, I'll be doing the consultant thing. I will be, applying my consultant mindset, and for the rest of 7 hours of my day, I won't be doing it. It can't work like that. If you are working 6 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, you have to keep it with you. So that is why it is a hard thing. So attention to detail should be there. The domain knowledge should be there. On what platform it is working, it is a must, because if you don't have an idea on what platform things are working, you won't be able to judge, or if you are not able to judge whether something is correct or not correct, you won't be able to test that particular functionality. So that is why attention to detail, platform knowledge, domain knowledge, these things are a must, and these things comes with proactiveness. These are the two different approaches. Now what we are doing over here is to combine them together, join them together and make a consultative quality assurance where the testing does not start once you once you get assigned the stories. It will start once you get assigned on the project. You will get to know who the clients are, what is their business, who are their users. And the other thing, the other fun fact is, many people think that okay, if I have to research this much, then I have to understand these things, these technicalities, this will take hours. Why should I do that? Because I have a limited time. So if you get into the research mode before, let's say you have been assigned to a particular project, you get into the research mode earlier, you understood the nature of the customer, how they are like going about their business. Let's say if they are running social media ads, so you have to be sure that okay, the notifications are correct, things like that are correct. So once you get into the research mode, once you get an idea about the domain, then the testing, which is taking 4 hours, 3 hours, will get reduced significantly, and that significant time which has been saved will always be more than what you have invested. So this is how the consultative quality assurance continues. Now I am going to ask you guys one question. Okay, I am going to give you two scenarios and you have to tell me which one falls under the traditional approach and which one falls under the consultative approach. So the first scenario is that a person has been assigned a story. What that person did, that person, or let's say it is a website, okay. So the website has certain form in it, and the story is that one of the field name of that particular form that has been changed. So one QA person, what he did, he got to the website, he got to the form, he saw that okay, the name is changed, he closed the story, that okay, it is working fine. What the other person did was that he went to the website, he went to that particular form, he saw that okay, this particular field is a phone number. Then he wrote a alphabetical value over there, it was written. He wrote some negative values, it was then again getting populated. Then he consulted the business analyst that hey, these things are not mentioned in the story, but I understand these things are a common sense, like a thing of common sense. If someone is writing a phone number, he or she is he or she is very much into that particular zone of mind that it will not take any alphabetical value or it will not take any negative value. So if the developer team is not developing it, can you just mention a line or just write a comment down there that these things needs to be implemented in a certain way. So these are the two approaches. So which one do you think is the traditional approach, the first one or second one? And which one is the consultative one? Second. Guys, you guys have learnt about consulting now. That's good. So the other thing which we are going to do is that okay, we now know what is a traditional approach, we now know what is a consulting approach, we now know how to fuse them or infuse them together. Now why do we need that? What is that particular thing which makes us do that? What are the advantages or the perks of quality assurance consulting? So the first one is that it enhances the communication and information flows. So as I have discussed in the past examples, once you get into the consultant mindset, the communication, the biggest plus point in a consultant mindset is the channel of communication. So you do not just rely on a document, rather you reach out to different person who have different roles. You try to understand and grasp the knowledge, the entire overview that what we are building and why we are building. So this what and why will always lead you to how. So what we are building, why we are building and how we are building, these three when combined together will give a perfect scenario for doing your quality analysis or doing a quality assurance on any particular project. So this is the first advantage. The second advantage is that it searches for unanswered questions, like the example which we have recently discussed, the phone number one. There were no one who was asking any question, why is it taking a negative value, why is it taking the alphabetical value, but these were some questions which remain unanswered. But when we use a consultative mindset, these answers, you will get these answers. It brings a perspective, like the makeup, makeup brand example we did. So what happened, it gave us a idea, a perspective that what we are building and how do we need to approach it. It is not something which is a day-to-day task that okay, you log in, you do these things and then you understand that okay, this is a particular problem which we are solving, and for a client, let's say the client is facing one issue, the current website, they are not able to add certain products. He is frustrated because some customer comes to the website, that customer when tries to add a certain product, he or she is not able to add a product. Then the company or the website owner is frustrated that if I am attracting some leads, he is coming to the website and that person is not able to add, what is the benefit of this entire process? So he want to switch, but if he switch and your mindset also remains the same of just doing a task and getting it completed, that particular website owner or that particular client will be double frustrated, he will be furious. Why? Because he has again invested a lot of money and the end result is still same, because the end result is that the user is facing a lot of hassle. The hassle-free experience is not there for the end user. So that is why it is important to have a perspective, and a consultative mindset brings that perspective. The last one is that whenever you practice all these things, these makes your software, application, website bulletproof. So these are the advantages. Now so far we have understood how different people approach, what are their ways, why do we need this. But the other question which comes in my mind when discussing all these things is, if there are so many advantages, if it is the need of the hour, then why are people not actually adapting it? Why are these skills still in hibernation mode? So for that, I would request my co-speaker Megha Sharma to come forward and explain it to you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Vikas. So I'll touch base on that hibernation thing after a few minutes. So hi everyone, I hope you all are doing great and you guys are enjoying your coffee and enjoying this session as well. Like, we have learned a lot about what is a traditional method and what is a consulting method. And so far we have understood, like, there were two individuals, Annie and Sarah, and how they used different approaches while like they were working on their assigned task. And we have understood what is QA and what is consulting, and how we can infuse them together and create a better approach. And we have talked about the benefits of using a consulting mind as well. So now the question is, when there are so many benefits, so let me take a scenario over here. So suppose there is a software development company and the QA is working there for last 5 years, and let's name the QA as Vikas. So Vikas is working there, and one day Vikas receives a story in his plate which is related to a social media application, okay? And in that story, Vikas needs to test that how will the notification panel work. So he went through the entire acceptance criteria, he understood the requirement, what was written there, and now he started testing, and he logged few bugs as well. And now he is happily going home, and you must be wondering, why is he that happy? Because he found some good bugs, and like the dev team member sitting here can get offended, but finding bugs is the main goal of a QA, like it gives us the real kick. So that's why he was very happy, and he went home. But when the next day he came back to the office, and he noticed that his project team members were talking something about that social media notification panel. And he got a little anxious because that conversation didn't seem very happy conversation. So he went to one of the team member and asked him, like, what were you guys talking about? And surprisingly, he came to know that the notification panel feature was supposed to be built in a different way, and this was not the correct way. So why did this happen? Like, because the functional consultant did discuss the functionality with the client, but somehow he or she missed to update the acceptance criteria. So that's how it got missed from the functional consultant side and from the QA side as well. So in that case, QA did not provide any suggestions from their end, and there was no collaboration with the other stakeholders, like he was doing all the testing just as per the requirement which was written there in the acceptance criteria. And there was no collaboration with the other stakeholders, and he was not actually utilizing his skills perfectly. Like, QA is just not about performing or testing any task, but you'll have to think out of the box there. You'll have to think from the perspective of a client there. So now let's see, what if in that case Vikas is using a consulting mindset actually. So what he'll do, at first whenever he gets the story, he went through the entire acceptance criteria, he has understood the requirement, what the exact requirement is, but now he has one question, like why, like I also use social media applications, but this particular application notification panel feature is a bit different, because like in all the social media application we can see the past date notifications as well there. Like suppose I have commented one of the post of Vikas Deep, and at that time he was a little bit busy, so he was not able to reply on that comment of mine. But after when he got busy, after when he got free, now he is just scrolling through his Instagram, and now he just remembered that, oh, Megha commented one of my post, so let's check this one, and he replied on that, and he is realizing that why this application does not have this feature. So he went to the other team members, like the other stakeholders, like any dev member or any functional consultant, discuss this functionality there. So, and surprisingly he came to know like his doubt was correct, like the functionality was to be built in the same way what he was at that time thinking. So, but he came to know that the functional consultant had the discussion with the client, but he just missed it to update in the acceptance criteria. So that's how the entire team came to know about that functionality, because it was to be built in that way. But at least the client is not furious now. But in the other scenario, the client was really furious, like what we have discussed, it is not that. So we discussed these points here, like why skills are in hibernation mode, because they are not being utilized correctly. And there was like no inputs from the Vikas in the first scenario. But Vikas did provide some suggestions from his side in the second scenario, and there was reduced collaboration in the first scenario, but Vikas was collaborating with the other stakeholders in the other scenario. So that's how skills can go in hibernation mode, and if you do not want to be in that hibernation mode, then you must start thinking out of the box and from the perspective of a QA. Now we have talked about the benefits, and we have talked about like why these skills are in hibernation mode. Now the question is, when there are so many benefits, why QAs are hesitant to adopt this functionality, why they are not adopting it? So the first reason is unawareness of benefits. So Vikas, would you like to elaborate it?
So first thing, whatever we do, whatever activities we do it with a, with a sense of benefits. Like whenever we are executing something, back in our mind, it goes back in our mind that, okay, if I do certain things, these will be the benefits. The usual case is that if we execute certain test cases, our work will be done from our side. We might log certain bugs, and then it will be on the dev's plate or on the other team plate. So it will not be us. So the first thing is about the awareness of benefit. If someone is unaware about the benefit, let's say if someone does not understand that once we get into this mode of asking questions or getting an understanding, so if that person is not aware about the benefits it brings, so that person will never be able to ask these things. He might think in his own mind that why do I need to? So this question of why stops with the benefit. If that person has the understanding of the benefits, he will never question why. He will always question like how can I reach out more and more to people, how can I ask more and more questions. So this difference is a major stark one which stops the quality assurance team member to go for the consultant mindset, which is the unawareness of benefits.
Yep. Thank you, Vikas. So the next reason is time constraint. Like we know that for so many years most of the QAs are using the traditional mindset, and from this shift, like from traditional mindset to a consulting mindset, can be difficult for any individual because it's not that easy. And because it will require definitely certain changes, like you are providing more time into understanding the requirements, you are collaborating with the stakeholders. So we can again loop in Vikas. We remember Vikas from the social media panel, notification panel functionality that he was testing at that time. So in the first scenario, when Vikas came to know that, oh, so that feature was something else, But for a second he thought, when I was testing this functionality, I also thought about it, like I also use social media application and I can see all the notifications in the notification panel. Then why it is not built in a such way? But at that time he thought that I have only 2 hours to execute this story, and if I would have initiated any conversation with any of the stakeholders, then it can take around 15, 20 or even 30 minutes of mine, and it will stretch, and I have only 2 hours, so I'll just execute this story and finish my task. So that was his approach. So in that case, time constraint can also be a reason why QAs are like resistant in adopting this consulting mindset. And the third reason, which is pretty interesting, which is imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is the situation when an individual doubts their skills or abilities to perform any task or do anything. So this is imposter syndrome, and this can lead to fear of overstepping boundaries. Like what if a QA has, what if a QA has a good mindset, good consulting mindset, but he has that fear in himself or herself. Like what if I'll initiate any conversation with other stakeholders, what if they'll not listen to me, what if they are busy in their work and they do not want to connect to me, or what if they will not even consider my inputs there. So that can be a reason as well. The fourth reason can be resistance to change. What if an individual is happy and comfortable with their traditional mindset, like they are executing the story, they are reading the acceptance criteria, executing and logging few bugs and closing the story. What if they do not want to shift to the consulting mindset? Because we can just provide inputs there, like you should inculcate the consulting mindset into yourself, but what if someone does not want to? So that can be a possible reason. And the fifth and the very crucial reason can be the organizational culture. What if your organization does not promote this mindset? Like suppose you're working on a project and there is a QA lead, you are testing a functionality of a food delivery application, and you have noticed that when I place the order placement, it is not shown on the home page. I'll have to navigate to the profile page, then I'll have to go to my orders, and then I'll have to check that okay, I have ordered this and there I can see my order, but it should be on the home page. You go to your QA lead, you said them like shouldn't it be in this way, and your QA lead said, what do you care? It's already been like mentioned in the acceptance criteria, then why do you care? It should be implemented like this. So we should not initiate any conversation with any team members. So that can be definitely a crucial reason why people are not adopting this consulting mindset. So we have talked a lot about now. Let's get into a use case where we'll see that how a consulting mindset of a QA improved campaign performance and ROI of PrimeTech. So suppose there are two companies, first one is Elitrist and second one is PrimeTech, and both the companies have the same product, which is a wristwatch, like in men and women, both the categories, and both the companies are using the same business flow. So their business flow is like they are running campaigns through emails, or we can say the Google ads, and as of now they are using Adobe Campaign for their campaign operations. Next, the main goal to run these campaigns is to get some good leads. Whenever they have any lead, they are storing and capturing those leads into their CRM system. And on the other hand, they have a website as well where they are promoting their products with the personalization. Personalization, like if you will log in, like if you're women and you have logged in, so you will see the home page loaded with the women section watches. And if you're a man, then it goes same for the men. Yep. But even after doing all this, they are running campaigns, they are storing good leads, we can say, and they have a website as well there. But still they are not able to, increase their ROI. They don't have any profit right now, and their campaign performance is just average. It's not that good. So now they have some internal discussions with their team, and now they are like realizing we should change the product. Like right now we are using Adobe Campaign, we should change this to Marketing Cloud. Why Marketing Cloud? Because as of now we can, like Marketing Cloud can provide most of the communications channel at one place. Like we can do campaign through emails, through website, through text messages, push notifications, etc. So that's why they want to shift to Marketing Cloud now. So after a few months, they both have finalized their vendors. So EliteRist finalized Pentatech, and the second one, which was PrimeTech, finalized Codenex. So you can see here the both of the companies have the same process, like they gather the requirement, then they start building it, they build it, now they move it to the quality assurance, and then after quality assurance they hand it over to the client. But there is just one change which is the consultancy doing, and which is consulting quality assurance. So there is consulting mindset into their quality team. And both the companies have just one deliverable, which is email. So they just have to build an email for the company to run their campaigns. But even after implementing Marketing Cloud, they have implemented Marketing Cloud, but still they are not able to increase their ROI, or the campaign performance is still very average. So why is that? So let's do the gap analysis. Like Vikas, can you tell what was the difference there? So let's talk about the QA team from the Pentatech first. So how did he approach this situation? So he got the story related to that email. He went through it and he started testing the email. And he's happy, like, yeah, I've tested this email. It is exactly the same designs which was provided by the client. So, and the email is now with a live audience. But still the email is not performing that good. Now let's talk about the second QA who was working with Codenex. So what did he do actually? So when he received the requirement of the email and the design, like the first thing he suggested was to do some tweaking in the email subject line. So earlier the subject line was very generic, like, hey there, check out our new collection. But he suggested that this subject line is actually not catchy. So I think we can change the subject line, we can do some tweaking, and we can suggest a client to do some tweaking here. If they agree, then we can go with that. So the subject line which he suggested, like, we can put some personalization there, like, hey Megha, hey Vikas, hey Shweta, embrace the change of a new collection. So that was a pretty sort of catchy line for them. And the second suggestion which he gave, this was about the email content. Like there was a CTA button, like we can say the hyperlinked, and it will redirect the user to the website directly. And if you're a man, you will see the man wristwatches, and if you're a woman, then you will see the women wristwatches. So he suggested that the content also should be a little bit personalized. Like if we are sending emails to the women category, then they should see a picture of a woman watching wristwatch, wearing wristwatch, yeah, and the content should be related to the women, and same goes for men. So these are the changes he suggested, and now he's thinking, like, when I am suggesting these changes, then how are we so sure that this email will work for sure? So he asked the functional consultant, like, have we done the A/B testing here? And if you guys don't know what is A/B testing, so A/B testing is basically we create two versions of any like email, notification or text messages. We create two versions, and then like suppose we have 1,000 subscribers to whom we want to send these emails. So we get a chunk of like around 100 subscribers from them, and we start sending the email version 1 to the 50 subscribers and the second email to the rest of the 50 subscribers. And then we'll see the performance of that email, like whichever email is performing better, we'll send that email to the rest of the subscribers. So this is A/B testing. So he asked them and suggested them, then we should have two versions of email so that we are pretty much sure if that email will work or not. So the session was all about this. Now we'll play a fun quiz. Vikas, would you like to join us?
As I promised you in the very beginning that we are going to play a fun quiz, and all of you who have been attentive throughout the session will get a chance to win any prizes. So let's start. So the first question is, how many test cases were for the two individuals in the beginning?
5 each.
Oh, there are too many correct answers.
5 each.
Yeah. The other one is, tell us one downside of not using the consulting mindset. Okay. The third question is, what was the name of one of the client which we discussed in the use case? No, it was in the very beginning. It was my dream startup.
In the use case.
Okay. The fourth question is, like, what was the deliverable that the company required? The fifth one is, how many skills were there in hibernation mode? Yeah, there were 3. The sixth question is, like, Elytrist has finalized which vendor? No, the name of that particular vendor. The seventh question is, tell us one advantage of using consulting mindset.
Better product. The product will be which were desired.
Okay.
Desired product will be there, and apart from that, you will be able to give a quality product, and might be happy client might will be successful. It will not be mine there.
Yep. Okay, the last question is, tell us one of the resistance in consulting mindsets. The resistance?
There were.
Okay, so like,
Yeah.
I believe these questions were too easy for you guys. Like,
Yes.
most of you have answered it. Like, we underestimated your attention towards the presentation. But like, yep, I have so you have answered many questions correctly. So we will distribute the prize. So before that, we want to say a big thank you to all of you. And you do inculcate some consulting behavior, which is our goal. The goal of Tech Brews, the entire industry, the entire ecosystem should slightly or slowly, transform into a consulting ecosystem.